I have had my beautiful 2024 Harley-Davidson Road Glide for 5 months. 2 of those months, I really didn't get to ride very much because I was on the road so much traveling. So this is my official 10,000 mile review of this beautiful bike. If you're new to my channel, I will give you a quick update on the types of motorcycles that I tend to ride. I tend to do long distance touring, and that's kind of about it. So I actually owned a 2018 Harley-Davidson Road Glide Special from 2021 up until recently in 2024. Also, it's super windy, so I hope you don't get motion sickness because the camera's just... Anyway, I owned a 2018 Road Glide Special, and Harley-Davidson invited me to Las Vegas, Nevada this past February 2024 to do a press ride on their brand new model. Obviously, I fell head over heels in love, and instead of doing the traditional 500-mile route that Harley offered me, I begged them to ride the bike all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada, back to Orlando, Florida. So after crossing the country for the first time and putting a little over 2,500 miles on the bike within the first week of test riding it, I knew I had to have it. So I ended up taking her home with me, and this is officially my main touring motorcycle. That being said, I want to give this a very honest review. I do have notes so I don't get distracted. I want to give you guys the good, the bad, the ugly, the annoying, and some things that really probably don't matter unless you're picky like myself. First things first, I'm going to dive right into it. Reason I ended up purchasing a Road Glide instead of a Street Glide or any other type of touring motorcycle is because I am obsessed with the fixed fairing. I do appreciate the look of the Street Glide. I enjoy riding those motorcycles as well, but when it comes to standard touring and comfort, for me, the fixed fairing is just always going to win. I love the updated screen, I love the wind deflection it gives you, and I love the protection you get from the elements in general and how lightweight the front end actually feels. That's why I bought a Road Glide. The thing that I noticed immediately coming from a 2018 to a 2024 is the weight difference. This motorcycle weighs about 30 pounds less than the stock wet weight of the previous generation, and there really doesn't sound like that much weight, but when you are on this thing maneuvering around or doing slow speed skills, feeling the weight in the bars, it's a huge difference, and it was enough of a difference to make me actually want to make the jump and upgrade and feel just a little bit more confident on my long distance solo travels. Speaking of weight distribution, ergonomics played a huge role into this. I am 5 foot 7 or 8 inches tall. I don't know, I guess it depends on if I stretch. Anyway, I am 5 foot 7 inches tall. I have an inseam of 31 inches. I can comfortably flat foot this motorcycle. And the thing that I really love about this bike is if you are just kind of a standard size human being, the bars, these are stock bars. Almost everything on the motorcycle is stock except for a few modifications like the seat, the windshield, the exhaust, stuff like that. But the frame and the ergonomics of this bike are going to be exactly the same as if you were to go throw a leg over in the showroom. As I mentioned, 10-inch stock bars. I haven't felt the need to change the bars. I think they're perfect, incredibly comfortable. These are the stock floorboards. As you can see, they're not forwards. I mean, like, they technically are, but my legs are at a nice 90-degree angle, and I can reach the brake pedal easy peasy. I also very much enjoy putting my feet up on the passenger pegs. As you can see here, this is one of my favorite ways to tour. I like having multiple points of contact for my feet when I tour. That's how I keep my hips limber and my knees not from cramping up. So I use my passenger pegs a lot as well as the highway pegs. The highway peg is pretty comparable to my brake lever. So the ergonomics are absolutely wonderful on this bike. The one thing that I will say is not very ergonomically comfortable with the stock version of this motorcycle is the stock windshield. It did not offer a lot of wind protection. I did get a lot of buffeting, and that is something that I think if you're looking into this motorcycle, you should upgrade your windshield immediately, unless you like that very sporty, sleek looking style. Even though this is a big, old, heavy Harley-Davidson, I really love the versatility that this motorcycle offers. It can be my pack mule, my long distance road glide, I can put things on the back, things on the front. I think Jordan's having fun on my Pan America. So I can use this motorcycle as my pack mule. I can pack a ton of stuff. I actually prefer using the Sissy Bar pack method and the luggage rack instead of the King Tour Pack, just because I personally can fit a little bit more into my packing style. The Tour Pack is super nice if you want to put your helmet in there and protect it somewhere if you run into a store, go to a restaurant. It's up to you, but I personally like the stripped down look of this. And even though it can be a big long distance hauler, mile crusher, country cruiser, it's still a very, very comfortable and lightweight ride if you're just doing some bar hopping, riding around town, riding two up. I love the versatility of this motorcycle. It can literally do everything. As I briefly touched on, I also just absolutely adore the comfort of this motorcycle. I'm perfectly comfortable on it. I'm perfectly comfortable when I'm riding, and I don't think I need to upgrade anything else on this bike to bring me more comfort. Obviously, coming from a 2018 Milwaukee 8, some of the new features on this motorcycle and this platform is the upgraded 117 Milwaukee 8. This is the first motorcycle I've owned from Harley-Davidson that does have ride modes. I usually ride in road mode pretty much all the time just because of fuel efficiency, and I don't constantly need that kind of power just cruising down the highway. I will say I did ride back from the 10,000 mile service today, and I was in sport mode the whole time, and it just absolutely rips. I have not messed with the tuning at all. I personally don't think it needs tuned. I don't need more power. I'm very much just a cruiser. I enjoy cruising, and it's worked out for me perfectly. So with the 117 motor, completely stock, no cam, no aftermarket intake, nothing, I have never wanted for more power, at least not yet. On top of the upgrades to the motor, the thing that I think I adore probably the most about this bike is the frame is exactly the same as previous generations. So that means a lot of the parts that you can find aftermarket for this bike are still going to be available and still fit. Unfortunately, the technology updated, and so you might have a hard time finding updated tech for this bike. Specifically, I'll use an example, these heated grips. Night and day difference installing the upgraded heated grips versus the previous generation heated grips. There's a lot more technology on the handlebars, obviously, in the dash and in the fairing, and of course the way the motorcycle kind of runs in general, but you don't notice a lot of it because it still has the bones and the reliability of the previous generations. On the subject of technology, having the large digital screen was one of the #1 reasons why I went ahead and upgraded to this model. I have talked previously about my 2018 Road Glide being just slightly out of date enough that it was upsetting to me for the type of riding that I like to do. So having the updated screen has been absolutely wonderful and also kind of terrible. I'll get back to that here in a later section of this video, but I have never wanted for more visibility. I can clearly see everything. The one issue I will say I have dealt with a lot with this giant screen is water. It's touch screen, and so when it is just dumping down rain and the rain is coming off of the fairing and falling onto your screen, it will jack up everything. One time I almost got lost because it completely rerouted me to a different location and ended my GPS in the middle of a rainstorm one time. So yeah, tech, good. Tech, also bad. It's just, it is what it is. You get what you get. So far, it's just annoying, but I love using it. Double-edged sword, if you know what I'm saying. Speaking of technology, I'm going to be talking to those of you who are not purists, motorcycle purists. I actually love that this bike comes with the advanced rider aids. It does come with ABS, it has the cruise control, it has traction control. I do believe it has mid-corner traction control or mid-corner ABS. I can't remember which one, but all of those things to me I don't think it makes you a lazy rider. I'm still very much in control of my motorcycle. I still have a full understanding and conscious awareness of things that are happening around me, and I've never actually had to use any of those rider controls, but they are there for the unpredictable, and I love that for me. Obviously, one of the major upgrades compared to the previous generation is the LED lights. I do not have any aftermarket lights on this motorcycle. I have the stock LED front headlight and the rear lights. My husband says that he can see when he's following me on the motorcycle all of my indicators clear as day. I like that you can see the headlight nice and bright from really far away without having to have your brights on. Visibility is huge to me, and I'm so happy that Harley has finally upgraded to the LED lights because I like being visible. I like using my indicators, and I like using hand signals as well. So good job on the LEDs. I absolutely love them. I'll probably add more in the future if I'm being honest. Speaking of tech, it's time to talk about the cons. The biggest con I have had with this motorcycle is probably user error, but it's the technology. I struggle and fight almost every single day with trying to connect my phone via Bluetooth if I don't want to turn on my cardo, and just being able to do all of the creature comforts that I used to be able to do on my 2018 model, a challenge to do on this model because it's very particular. From what I've learned, I feel like I'm the only person that has had these extreme and consistent issues with connecting my phone to the motorcycle, but that's all of my issues technologically that I've had. It has been connecting to my phone. Everything else has worked flawlessly on this motorcycle. If you just start it up and take off, it has worked fine. I've never had an issue with tech. Another con is, since it is a newer model, some of the aftermarket parts have been a little difficult to find. That's kind of why I haven't really touched anything on the motor yet, because I'm still kind of waiting to see some people's thoughts and opinions, reactions on the parts they're installing on their motorcycle. But I do love the upgraded heated grips. I just kind of wish there was a few more options, but obviously we'll wait on down the line. And some of the aftermarket parts that I have added were a little difficult to get my hands on for a few months. So that's really been my biggest issues with this bike so far. On the subject of modifications and upgrades that I have done to this bike, the most important and probably my personal favorite upgrades that we have done to the bike, and I wouldn't even, some of them are upgrades, some of them are just modifications. Number one, like I said, get yourself some good wind deflection. I'm rocking the Clockworks windshield up here. I think it's called the Sport Flare, can't remember exactly. Harley-Davidson also makes an upgraded windshield, but I think that's the first thing you should do on this motorcycle is get yourself upgraded wind protection. Obviously, I have my beautiful Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde 2-in-1 exhaust. Harley sound like sewing machines now. They have to go by all of the EPA and all of the emissions laws and all of that jazz. So obviously you're not going to be able to walk into a dealership and buy a brand new motorcycle that sounds badass out the door. So having my Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, which is an electronically controlled valve exhaust, so I can have that quiet, sneaky stock sounding exhaust when I need it, and then open up the valve and have straight pipe sounding Harley-Davidson when I don't. I can't wait to maybe potentially add a cam and see what the updated lope in this motorcycle is. But as of right now, the Dr. Jekyll Mr. Hyde exhaust has been one of my favorite upgrades, as well as my beautiful Saddleman Road sofa seat. I will give Harley credit. Their new stock seats were significantly more comfortable than the previous generation. I do have narrow hips, and being able to sit on a smaller, kind of like a raised back stock seat was amazing when I was traveling across the country. Obviously, this motorcycle did not come stock with upgraded audio system, so my husband and I did install the upgraded Rockford Fosgate speakers in the front and in the rear. Hey, we're having fun, right? Jordan's not, I am. And definitely for the type of touring that I do, I like to listen to music. I like to hear it coming from my motorcycle, not my little speakers in my helmet. And it really helps just give me that vibe of, you know, freedom on the road. So upgraded speakers, 100% recommend. Even if you go with a separate brand, I don't care, but having the speakers has made a huge difference in my happiness while riding. On top of that, we have not done much else to this motorcycle other than the sissy bar and the luggage rack, and I am perfectly okay with that. Would I recommend this motorcycle to you? 100% I would recommend this motorcycle to anybody. 10,000 miles later, and I'm just getting more and more excited to see the odometer keep ticking upwards, because this is my baby, this is my new memory builder, and I have loved every single second on this motorcycle so far. So obviously, if you guys have any questions, my name is Jess. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, and let me know if you've had any issues with these motorcycles. I've heard you have. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until my next one, as always, you be good, ride motorcycles, and I'll see you later.